When the hashtag Justice for Han campaign first sprung up in the wake of the 8th entry of the Fast and the Furious franchise, The Fate of the Furious, Justin Lin wasn't even aware of the fervor that had kicked up around the fan-favorite character that he had introduced in Tokyo Drift. Lin had stepped away from the Fast and Furious franchise with 2013's Fast and Furious 6, having left Sung Kang's Han Lue to his tragic, seemingly random doom in Tokyo. But after the 7th Fast and Furious film introduced Han's apparent killer, Deckard Shaw, Jason Statham, only for the 8th installment to welcome Shaw into the family fold, fans began to call for justice. When Lin came back to direct and co-write F9, those calls are what inspired him to bring Han back, he told Film in an interview ahead of the US. The different inventions that people come up with are amazing to watch, really, and apart from needing some fine-tuning. This one is actually kind of brilliant, for a home pizza-making device. Trying to see this at a restaurant brings to mind many gimmicks that various places have used to entertain their guests, which is great since, to be fair, innovation and imagination are always welcome in a lot of different ways, at least until a bodily injury occurs, which it hopefully won't. Theatrical release of the action sequel. In an interview I conducted with Lin, the filmmaker admitted that he would not have even thought of bringing Han back if it wasn't for the Justice for Han campaign, in which thousands of Fast and Furious fans called for the franchise to acknowledge the death of a fan-favorite character after his killer was apparently forgiven by the family in Fate of the Furious. When I left the Fast and Furious franchise, I felt like it was time. But this Rube Goldberg pizza maker is actually pretty cool, but it might need a few tweaks here and there, as the inventor likely knows already. That I came in with Han and I was going to leave with Han, so there was never any intention of bringing him back. And we were having I think it was 15th anniversary Better Luck Tomorrow screening at the Egyptian, and that was the first time, during the Q&A, someone brought up Justice for Han. I was like, what's Justice for Han? Lin said. Lin explained that he was as upset over the treatment of Han's legacy as many fans were, and that inspired him to bring him back in F9. When I found out, I was baffled, but I think if anything, I maybe was a little hurt. I think that he was such a beloved character. The way he was treated, it was almost like he was just dismissed. The whole idea of the sauce bottle dripping as it's taken away could be improved, and the amount of cheese might need to be adjusted, as well as the placement of the meat and olives, if those were olives, I'm hoping. And I really appreciated that social media uproar. So I think the idea of bringing him back, to me, is not justice. The fundamental purpose of this invention is very sound, to be certain, since it did what it was supposed to do, and that's one of the main points. But the attachment to do the feeding at the end is, well, a bit nuts, since yes, it does flirt with laziness. There are a lot of reasons why a good number of people still prefer the old ways of doing things, and it's because in some cases the old ways still work, even if they're not always bound to be as quick or as efficient. Making pizza is a personal thing though, so any way it can be done is usually up to the individual that's making the dish. I feel like how we treat this character going forward, to me, that's justice. And I give the fans 100% credit, because I came back not for that reason, I came back for the exploration through Jakob, but now looking back I kind of feel fortunate, because of everything that's happened, I now get the gift of getting to work with Han and creating hopefully a lot more journey for him to explore. Lin addressed the franchise's shaky relationship with life and death, explaining that he doesn't wake up wanting to bring dead people back. But Han's return was especially important to him, not just for the social media outcry it inspired, but for the character's place in pop culture, as one of the few major Asian American characters in an action franchise. That was one that I actually felt really proud, Lin said. This version is a bit messy, but it does work, and it's something that a lot of people might be mesmerized by, and rightly so. Because when we started, we were at a very different place. The kind of planning it takes to create something like this and then execute it in a manner that will work is beyond those that don't think past the first 2 or 3 steps. The people that can see these kinds of things in their head are impressive, since even if they don't see the entire process all at once, which sounds dizzying, they see how each step goes with the one before it in order to create the desired result. Plenty of people might think that pizza is pizza. There's not much to it and almost anyone can do it if they have the resources. But the fact is that pizza is also a bit of an art form. Sure, some people take a wad of dough and roll it out before putting sauce and toppings on it. But some folks will take their time, work with the dough, make sure it's where it needs to be, and will painstakingly craft every pizza to their or their customers' liking. When it comes to a business, most places have to be fast and efficient, and this doesn't always allow for the best product to come out. But those that are quick and still produce a quality pizza are those that know how to create something that's edible, visually appealing, and will keep people coming back for more. And the fact that people cared enough to voice it, and it became this thing. I know waxing on and on about pizza is only going to make some folks hungry and others bored. But the fact is that this dish is a personal favorite and something that many pizza makers take pride in. This device is fairly simple compared to others, but just complicated enough that a lot of those watching the clip might be thinking, huh? And it's perfectly okay, since to be fair, the inventor does put a bit of flair into his work, and it's fun to see, since if it were just a boring, monotone way of making a pizza, it might not be worth commenting on. It made me feel like this character that I've been with for all these years meant something to others. But those that are out to do something to get noticed usually have some kind of flair, a hook of some type, to get the attention of the people and to keep it for just long enough to get folks to say, well, isn't that interesting? Obviously this individual put some thought into this and some truly impressive details, so it's easy to applaud him and yet to tell him to read the thank you list while eating his pizza with a free hand. There are so many videos like this online that it's hard to take them all in all at once. I'd never done anything like it, and it is very special. But the fact is that a lot of people have a lot of interesting and great ideas that are bound to amaze and sometimes astound people. I am glad, if anything, it's for Han. F9 hits theaters on June 25, 2021. Cool posts from around the web. As far as making a pizza goes, this is definitely one very interesting way to do it. Yes, it's a little messy, but there are ways to refine the process and make it work just as well. But until then, it's very easy to applaud this design and say that it was fun to watch. About the author.